tabletop gamers, and welcome to this video all about how to play NCO, the World War II squad versus squad skirmish firefight game. I hope that this video will kind of help you understand a bit of the core mechanics of the game. In part one here, we're going to be looking at the order dice phase. We're going to be looking at some of the mechanics of the game, including rolling to hit, rolling to wound, and and then we'll also be looking at some of the other elements of gameplay with thorough examples kind of throughout. First thing to note is in the game of NCO, we use a order dice system. For those of you who are coming out of a game like Bolt Action, that's going to be extremely familiar, and in fact you can indeed use Bolt Action dice to give orders in this game. However, the orders don't follow exactly the orders found on the order dice system, Warlord's order dice. So a normal D6 system is going to be just fine. But remember, if you do that, when bringing your squads to a game, you're going to need to bring one die per model for your squad, and all of your dice are going to need to be uniform in color, and they're also going to need to be the same weight and about the same size and feel as your opponent's dice. So in the dice bag, that doesn't feel too different without being able to see the color. Colors need to be different, everything else should be about the same. We're going to look at those orders in depth in just a moment here, but to give you a quick rundown, number one is a down order. Number two is your rally order, kind of like a mend order. Number three is cover fire, which is a little different than the order dice that Warlord produces. Number four is your normal fire order. Number five is an advance order, which is kind of a move and shoot. And number six is a run order as well, and it can be used for assault as well. So let's check it out. So the first order in NCO that we can give a soldier is the down order. Remember how the order dice system works is we're going to place all the dice per model in a bag. We would shake them up and then draw blindly. And if I were to pull my own dice, I'd be able to then assign that dice to any given soldier who is free to take an order. If I wanted to do so, to give the down order, I'm going to do a 1 facing up next to that soldier. And the result's pretty simple. The soldier's going to hit the dirt. He's going to gain a -1 to the attack roll, like when someone is shooting a ranged attack roll to hit. He's going to get a bonus for that for being down. Down is also useful for using items. Certain types of items you need to be down to use. And down is also used to grab objectives or to complete certain scenario situations when playing with scenarios. Down is also interesting in that it can be a reactionary order. So for example, if I didn't pull my die, but I pulled an opponent's die, and my opponent chose to make a fire order, let's say that's number 4, there it is. He chose to make a fire order and he chose this soldier here. Because I'm kind of out in the open here, I may choose to forego the opportunity to give this soldier a free action, pull an order dice intentionally out of the dice bag, and just give this soldier a down. A down as a response to being fired upon. So yeah, that's the down order, and pretty simple. So the next order I may choose to give my soldier, and it's also a non-movement order, it is the rally order, and that's number 2 on a dice. And when I give a soldier a rally, there's a couple things I can do. Because in this game, the NCO, we not only look at a soldier's health, but we also consider his personal psychological stamina. We have 2 values, his health value and his psyche value. When his health value or psyche value is low, I can use the rally order to try to bring it back up. So what I would do is I would roll a single d6, and then according to the result on the die is how much I would gain back for either health or psyche. I'd have to declare, okay, I want to recharge this soldier's psyche, I want to attempt to mend a wound and bring his health back up, and then I'd roll a d6. On the roll of a 1, I'm only going to get 1 value back. On a roll of a 2 or a 3, I'm going to get 2 value back. On a roll of a 4 or 5, I would end up getting 3 value back, and on a roll of a 6, I'd end up getting 4 health or psyche value back. So depending on what I roll, it can be really useful to bring my soldier back into the game, hopefully surviving another round or getting into at least the special actions phase to make a crucial action, something like that. So in this case, if I rolled for the soldier, 5, great. So he would be regaining 3 of whatever value I chose, either the health or his psyche. So where orders 1 and 2 are stationary orders, non-movement, non-aggression, we move now into the ranged attack orders 3 and 4, and we begin with the cover fire order. Number 3 on a order dice is cover fire. So if I wanted to give a cover fire order to this soldier, I would choose him and put 3 face up. And cover fire is going to be different than your fire order, we'll talk about in a moment, because we're not going to target any particular soldier. What we're actually going to do is we're going to find a point on the ground, and every model, friend or foe, within 2 inches of that point is going to come under cover fire. So in this example, let's say I choose this point on the board here. Now all 3 of these soldiers are going to come under fire. Now, while there is a benefit, of course, to cover fire and being able to fire at multiple soldiers, also another benefit being that if one of these soldiers is hit by cover fire, they're going to have to immediately pull one of their order dice out of the bag and go down if they're not already given an order. They'll have to change the order to down or give a down order, which is great. But the negative for a cover fire order is that there's going to be a negative to hit modifier. So when you're rolling to hit, just like a game of bolt action or similar, this system is 3 up to hit. We always start with a 3 up to hit. And then there's different ways that we can modify that 3 up. First of all, we have some positive modifiers. So in this circumstance, we're going to go ahead and just assume that all of 3 of these soldiers are within half range of this weapon. So that's a great deal. The other thing that we're going to assume is that this soldier is at full psyche, so he's also going to get a +1. So his 3 would technically go up to a 1 up to hit, but in the game of NCO, we're only ever able to hit on a 2 up. So that's going to be our minimum. But now what we're going to do is we're also going to consider our target's placement and maybe some negative modifiers that might make this roll higher. First of all, we're making cover fire. So while we had a 2 up, like I said, a cover fire order is now going to be a 4 up. That's a -2 negative modifier for each of these rolls. Furthermore, we're going to consider the position of these soldiers. This guy is wide open, so he's going to definitely be a 4 up. This guy back here is behind a piece of cover, and as we know in the rules, cover grants a -1 to hit as well, so he's going to be a 5 up. And then this soldier over here is actually going to be a 6 up, because not only is he behind cover, some shrubs here, he's also currently down, which gives him a further -1 to be hit. So we got a 4, 5, and 6. So let's go ahead and roll and see what happens. The first guy here, I need a 4 up to hit, and he will be hit. That's awesome. We're going to roll on the wound chart. This soldier back here, I need a 6 up to hit. That's a miss. I'm sorry, a 5 up to hit for him, but that's a miss either way. And then a 6 up for this soldier here. Miss. So we were able to hit this soldier here, and that's perfect because he hasn't taken an order yet, and now I'm going to make him go down because he was hit by cover fire. The second thing then is I would roll on the wound chart, and we're going to talk about that in the fire order phase next. So the next order that you're going to give in the game of NCO is the most common order in the game, and that's going to be your fire order. That's number 4 on the die, and number 4 is a fire order that's going to be specifically at a single target. So unlike cover fire, now we're actually going to choose one target. So in this case, we maybe choose this guy. Fire orders come with no negative modifiers, so if we had gone back to our last example, we remember that he's at short range. He has a full psyche. He's going to be hitting on a 2+ for sure. So as long as I don't roll a 1, that is going to be a hit on this soldier here. So fire is really beneficial to actually doing some damage on a single soldier. So I rolled a 5, so that's great. So then what I would do is I would then roll immediately on the wound chart to determine what kind of wounds this soldier is going to take. In the game of NCO, we have a really cool wound chart that kind of grades what kind of damage was done to this particular soldier and what's going to be the effect of that. If I were to roll a 1, that would just be basically a graze, and the bullet hits him, but not in a meaningful way. It just spooks the soldier and he goes to -1 psyche. If I rolled a 2 or a 3, then this soldier would be significantly shooken. shook up, but he would not be. He would actually not still be wounded, but he would have a -2 to his psyche as well, which could be helpful. I might break him and have a mental breakdown, and he would go down. We'll talk about that in another video. Number 4 and 5 is when I start doing some real damage. He's going to take -2 health and a -1 psyche. And if I roll a 6, he's going to take -3 health, -2 psyche, and that can be detrimental. In fact, that can actually kill a couple lower soldiers like a private. So let's find out what happens to this soldier here. Oh, great. Number 5, so that means he's going to take -2 to his health. He's also going to be -1 to his psyche, and I would note that for this soldier on his soldier's roster. And that's how fire order works. So where orders 1 and 2 are stationary orders, and orders number 3 and 4 are ranged attack orders, we now move into our movement orders, 5 and 6. 5 is an advance order, and it's a hybrid of a model's movement as well as a fire order. So it's kind of a combo. Every model in the game of NCO, every soldier has some sort of movement value. Most of them are around 5 inches or so, 5-6 inches. And so what we're going to do in this situation is I would pull a die, an order die, and I would give the 5 order here for this soldier, and that means that he would be able to move and then shoot. So let's say I don't like this particular open situation here. I kind of want to move before I shoot, get behind some cover, maybe behind this bush here. I would move my soldier and the order die to some cover here. There we go. And now I have a good line of sight shot on this guy who at one point had cover from this angle and now no longer is gaining cover. And he, while he is down, I'm going to be able to make a shot at him and attempt to kill him. Now, because I moved and I shot for number 5, moving and shooting, there is going to be a -1 to hit for that. So my 3 now goes up to a 4. That soldier is also currently down, so that's going to be at a 5. However, again, because the shot's going to be half range, the soldier might be at full psyche. That would drop back down to a 3, and that's not a bad deal. So let's see if I can hit this guy. Oh, into the bushes. There we go, let's try again. And a 1. Turns out I missed. But that is a movement order called the advance, and it's how you use it in NCO. The very last order I may choose to give a soldier during the order dice phase in NCO is the run order. And the run order is a 6 face up on the die. And then what I'm going to be able to do is just basically with this soldier double his movement value and run anywhere on the board. The other way that we can use run is as an assault. So similar to bolt action, again, if you're familiar with bolt action, if you give a run order, you can use your run order as an assault. So what I would say is in this case, if I wanted to assault this soldier here and come into close combat, what I would do is I would declare to my opponent, hey, I'm going to assault this soldier here. Now my opponent has the opportunity to pull a dice from his dice bag and immediately give this soldier a fire reaction order to the assault at a -1 to his roll. So he's going to try to hit this soldier before he comes into base-to-base contact. If he's able to do some wounds and hit the soldier, then the soldier is actually going to fail his assault and go down where he stands. However, let's just say for sake of time and sake of example, we're going to move this soldier into close combat. The other soldier failed to hit him. And there we go. So now we'd be in a close combat phase. Let's check out that more in depth here. So when 2 soldiers are in close combat, we immediately enter a close combat round, and we continue to fight in close combat until one of these soldiers is killed and removed from action. So how that works is, first of all, we're going to consider each soldier's courage value. So on a soldier's profile in a game of NCO, they have a courage value. And their courage value is really helpful for potentially taking special actions, which we'll talk about in another video. But it's also helpful when fighting in close combat. So in this circumstance here, I'm just going to assume my guy that charged here, that made an assault, has a courage value currently of 4. And then I'm going to say, just for the sake of example, that this soldier here is maybe like a lowly private, and his courage value is a 2. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to roll, where each player is going to roll a d6, a further d6, and then we're going to add the results together. And then the difference of that result is the amount of wounds that, basically the amount of health damage that the losing soldier will take. And if it doesn't kill him, you go into another round of close combat. If it does kill him, then the round of close combat finishes. So let's say first roll for our corporal here, who has a 4. Rolled a 2, so that's a 6. So this private here might be able to take him out. Oh, not with a roll of 1 though. So the difference here then would be a 6 and a 3. So that's going to be 3 total health. That's going to come off of the private. And for privates, we already know, if you've read the rules, that a private unfortunately only has a health value of 3. So that means he is cleared off the board and killed, taken out of action. And that's resolving close combat. And with that, that is the all I kind of want to show in this video. Those are your order dice phase, rolling to hit, rolling to wound on the wound chart, as well as rolling for combat orders. Nice and easy. I hope you really enjoy your games of NCO. Please share around, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I'd be happy to help you. Enjoy your game of NCO.